The long lines are crazy. We've been waiting here for about 20 minutes, still waiting. And we still have to go through the process of getting our car. Not fun.
So I wanted to share with you guys my experience that I'm having here in Hawaii right now while I'm on vacation. When it comes to renting a car from Turo versus actually renting one from a regular car rental company like Enterprise, or in my case I rented from National Rent-A-Cars, which are pretty much everywhere. So actually what happened last night was I wasn't planning on having a car while I was out here, and so I went on Turo to look for a car that I could use just for the day, and I found a really awesome deal. I found a Ford Raptor, I believe it was, which is a really cool car, and I believe the total came out to about $200 for that car, so that was pretty cool. I had a bunch of Turo credit built up just from having my account and having referrals, so when I went to actually go book that car, I got an error message from Turo that I wasn't able to book at the time. I tried to contact them, but I just didn't hear back from them in time to plan the rest of my trip. So then I decided at that point to just go ahead and rent from a local car rental company, which I haven't done in the longest time. So it was really weird. So I just want to share that experience. So one was I went ahead that night, and last night actually, and I booked online. And when I booked online, I booked just a standard compact car. I believe it was a Hyundai Elantra, and my total came out to, I believe it was around $73 for one day. Now in comparison on Turo, a car like that would run you about $40 per day, and that's before trip fees and insurance and things like that. So what I did was, just to give you a comparison of the numbers, if you were to book that car on Turo, you have, so it's $40 for the day, then you have about $20 for the trip fee plus the insurance, and then I was looking for something to get delivered to my hotel, and so that was $60, I'm sorry, for delivery. So total came out to, I think that's what, about $120 for a one-day rental for a car such as a Hyundai Elantra. And then through the car rental company, it was $73 or so, and that was before any taxes, fees, and insurance. So what happened was I got to the car rental place, and I really didn't want to drive a Hyundai Elantra while I was in Hawaii, but it was the cheapest option. So I kind of wheeled and dealed with the guy working at the company, and really wanted to drive a Jeep, so I kind of saw if he would work with me on getting a Jeep. Now, when I tried to book the Jeep online through the car rental company, it was coming out to $178 per day, which was super steep. Something like that on Turo would run you about $77 per day, just to give you the comparison. But the guy was really nice, and he said that he would give me the Jeep Wrangler for $85 for the day. So I ended up booking that. I think my total, when it was all said and done, was about $90 for the Jeep Wrangler. And of course, that was just a special hookup that he gave me. And then, so one, it was a pain in the butt because you have to wait in this big long line, and they take forever, and you have to sign all these contracts. And it's just a really long process, and it wasn't fun. And then next, you have to proceed to where they actually have the car rentals, which in my case was sort of across the way, and you know, you had to take the elevator and go into this parking garage, and it was really dark and dingy. And then where I had to go there and actually wait in line a little bit more. And then finally, when it was my turn, I found out that they couldn't find that car, and what they suspected was that the person that had it before my rental was to begin was just running late and hasn't returned the vehicle yet. So they weren't able to give me the Jeep that I booked at the front counter, which I thought was interesting because obviously something like that would not happen on Turo. But what was really cool was, because they didn't have the Jeep, they actually ended up upgrading me for no additional money to this really cool convertible Range Rover, which is a really new and unique car and absolutely perfect for Hawaii. So I got a killer deal on, you know, the car that I actually ended up driving. But as you can see, just throughout the process, I went through a ton of changes. the car that I originally wanted, they didn't have. I was able to wheel and deal with the guy to have him kind of give me a special discount, which, you know, I don't think normally happens. And so overall, you know, the experience I'm personally not a fan of. I hate waiting in lines. I hate having to, you know, go to different location, pick up the car. It's just kind of a pain. So I don't personally like renting from these car rental services, but this situation worked out really well for me because I came up on a really cool car. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that's just kind of the difference between doing a regular car rental service versus using Turo. Turo's a bit easier because you know exactly what you're getting, you know how the host is. The service level is just way different when you're dealing with Turo, and you kind of know what you're getting because you know you take a look at who the host is, you take a look at the reviews, and so overall it's a better experience. And another thing was that when I picked up this car, it was filthy. They definitely haven't cleaned it or washed it, so it's kind of gross on the inside, so I wasn't too excited about that. Whereas most Turo cars, you know, owners know that you keep the cars clean and you present them really well, kind of like what I do for my cars. So just wanted to share my experience. So I do see that there's a little bit of price difference there, and of course it varies. Like in this case, I got a really good deal. Had I had rented this car on Turo, it would have been way more expensive. You're looking at $199 to $200 per day, but really I just got lucky with this car, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, so those are a little bit of the price differences. Just want to share my experience with renting on Turo versus renting at car rental companies. And just one last note, when you do rent on Turo, the things that you have to account for in terms of pricing is you have the day rate, which is set by the owner. So for example, $40 a day. Then Turo adds on a trip fee, and the trip fee is per day. I've seen this trip fee range from a lot of different price points, usually from about $5.98 to, you know, up to $16 per day, and I'm not really sure what they base that off of. They don't really say, so that could definitely really drive up your total as well. And then of course there's also the insurance that Turo adds that you can choose from, and they have multiple options for insurance, and the different options, what they represent is what your deductible would be in the event that, you know, something happened during your trip. So all those factors come into play when you do rent your car and what your total price ends up being. So those are just the things that you want to think about. But so I just want to share my experience, and I'll talk to you guys soon.